All right, what is going on, everybody? You guys know who it is. Patriots Global here, going live. We're going to be doing a post game here, a live post game, to kind of just give my overall reaction, my overall thoughts from our loss here, week 6 against the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I'm looking at going live at some point this week, maybe tomorrow, maybe Tuesday, with Patriots football breakdown, where we're going to get more analytical. We're going to jump into things. Kind of give us some time to look back at the footage, as of course this game literally just finished, and kind of get the statistic. Let's see offensive snap count, defensive snap count, advanced statistics. Let's look at all that stuff to be able to get a better idea of exactly what happened in this game, but kind of from a bird's eye view, from a fan perspective, kind of what did I see coming straight off the bat is kind of what we're going to talk about in this post game. I know that there's a lot of frustrated fans out there, okay? And I totally understand. I don't want things to come off as, hey, you shouldn't be frustrated, because Patriots fans do have a right to be frustrated after everything we saw in 2020 when New England had one of the hardest schedules in the NFL. They put up a fairly lackluster season, but they also didn't have a lot of good pieces. They didn't have the money to be able to do so. Cam Newton, COVID, all of that put together. I didn't think the 2020 season was necessarily as bad as some people made it seem. But because we had a whole offseason, because we had a first-round quarterback, because, I would think the quarterback situation would be better than it was last year. And of course, all of the free agency additions, especially offensively, not to mention the fact that we have a much easier schedule than last year. At least that's how it was ranked by the NFL and different experts. You would think that this team would be better. You think that this team would be putting up more wins. And if not more wins, then at least equivalent to what we saw from 2020. And unfortunately, New England is not doing that. And we're kind of standing back and asking ourselves, could we be performing with a worse record at the end of the season than we did in 2020, despite much better odds being in our favor the entirety of this offseason compared to what we had for the 2020 offseason? So I think Patriots fans definitely do have a right to be upset from what we are seeing. But guys, I posted this on my Twitter and I stand by it. If you guys don't have me on Twitter, I highly suggest you do. I'm not just saying that for my own clout, but I'm saying that because I post a lot of my overall thoughts at random points, especially throughout these games. I just post my thoughts on, Twitter about what's going on. And today I posted a point which I'm going to get into. But if you are interested in hearing these thoughts, or follow me on Twitter, turn on those post notifications. You guys can look me up. It's just Patriots Global 2. So Patriots Global and the number 2. Patriots Global was already taken, so I had to go with Patriots Global 2. So if you guys go ahead and check that out, go ahead and check out my Twitter. But I had posted saying, I believe that the New England Patriots in 2021 are like the 2020 version of the LA Chargers. I look back, and that's just exactly what I see from this team. If you don't know the Chargers from 2020, let me kind of give you a little bit of a rundown. Now, the Chargers didn't have a good record. They were one of the worst teams in the league statistically. I can actually tell you their record here. They actually wasn't even as bad. It wasn't even as bad as I was thinking. They finished 7-9. They finished 7-9, but a lot of odds were against their favor. They finished 3rd in the AFC West. But they played a lot of close games. Long story short, that's what that was. The Chargers were a much better team in 2020 than their record gave them credit for, but it was because of their record. When you look at it off the bat at 7-9, people were like, that's just not a very good football team. But there were a lot of times where against bad teams, but even against some of the best teams in the league, that the Chargers in 2020 were very pinned against the wall, going back to back with teams and almost coming out with these wins. And that's exactly what's happening with the Patriots this season. The Patriots have the weapons, right? Just like the Chargers had good weapons. They had developmental pieces, for lack of better words, just like the Chargers did in 2020. They're just not putting these pieces together, and it is coming down to really the hair, the skin of your teeth, really. That is exactly what it is coming down to for the Patriots in these losses. I mean, you look at the Dallas Cowboys game in overtime. New England got lucky enough to be able to win the coin toss, right? I mean, you go down, you at least kick a field goal. At least kick a field goal. We'll get into that. But you were lucky enough to have the ability to start the drive offensively and put that game away. And you didn't. Nonetheless, that game was close. A very good team. One of the best teams in the league, the Dallas Cowboys. Patriots were very, very, very close to beating them. Realistically, should have. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, New England should have beaten them also. You look at the week 1 against Miami. Not a great team at all, but New England should have beat them. The only real loss you can genuinely look back and say, that's a genuine loss, is the Saints. That's a genuine loss. You can't get past it. That's a genuine all-around team loss. But all of these other losses, the Dolphins, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Dallas Cowboys were all very, very, very close games that came down to the last bit of hair. But unfortunately, the NFL doesn't give points for, oh, you were a hair close. They give points for, hey, was it a W or an L for you? And that's why New England's record looks like complete crap right now. AFC East. Currently for the AFC East, the Bills are 4-1. They'll likely be 5-1 after tomorrow because they play Monday night. The Patriots are 2-4. We are second in the division. Despite these close games, we are 2-4. The Jets are 1-4. And the Dolphins are 1-5. So luckily enough, we are still second in the division. We're likely going to finish second in the division. But you look at that record and you go, wow. Because overall, this team has one genuine loss. One genuine loss. It says 4 losses on that board. But there's one genuine loss that this team has, and that's against the Saints. All these other games that we played were the hair's bit close. That New England, with one step to the right, could have won this game. Or all of the other 3 games, really. But there's some points here that I do want to get into. There's some things I noticed about this game that I do want to talk about. I know everyone's trying to say, well, not everyone, but I've seen some people saying this was really Patriots versus refs. I don't necessarily want to say that. I'm not going to sit back and be that Patriots fan that says, you know what, we lost because of the refs. All in all, this game was close with or without the refs, and that's on the Patriots. You know, the refs didn't make this a close game. But I will say the refs didn't call things. I will say they didn't call things on both sides, but they didn't call things against the Dallas Cowboys in crucial moments in overtime that really screwed the Patriots over and really could have changed the outcome of this game. But come back here for a second. Make sure we didn't get any super chats, of course. If you guys see me coming back here to the chat, it's just always to make sure we don't have any super chats. Of course, super chats do get priority. But let's start off here with overtime. My thoughts here on overtime, like I mentioned before, the Patriots got a blessing. They got a blessing to have won the coin toss. Dak Prescott calls tails. It's heads. New England receives the ball. You had the chance to put that game away. That was your prime time to do so. They don't do it. They don't get the ball down the field. They go run play, and And then they go pass play on third down. And I just see Mac Jones, and it's likely because there was nobody else open. Mac Jones was under some pressure. So he just lofts the ball up in one-on-one against Nelson Aguilar, and I forget who the defensive player was for the Cowboys. Basically, it was a 50-50 contested ball, and whoever came down with it came down with it. Nelson Aguilar, unfortunately, didn't. That brought up fourth down. There's 2 points here I want to make kind of on that. One point I want to make on that, and then kind of something that led up to that. And the thing about that play that really could have changed the overall outcome of this game, and especially overtime. I say could because, it's not like the Patriots necessarily were going to score a touchdown after that, but this would have given the Patriots a fresh set of downs. So I'm more confident that we would have at least put up a field goal at least versus having to punt the ball because we went 3 and out. Well, not 3 and out necessarily, but didn't convert on first down. But there was a face mask on Nelson Aguilar. If you guys are on any type of social media, you'll see this picture going around. It's very big, especially around the New England Patriots community at this current time. But a face mask on Nelson Aguilar. Cowboys defenders just grabbing the face mask of Aguilar. You can see his neck just all the way to the side. It does not get called. An easy call, something that hands down should have been called, and that could have been the reason Mac went there also. If Mac's under pressure, he throws up a 50-50 ball, one-on-one man coverage, but also if the defender rather is having any type of face mask, holding penalty, or just penalty in general, that would give a fresh set of downs. Maybe Mac Jones saw something there with that one-on-one matchup that he said, you know what? Nelson Aguilar might not catch this ball, but I throw it his way. I know there's a penalty right there. That's going to be a fresh set of downs either way. But again, the refs didn't call it. That brings up fourth down for the New England Patriots. Now that call was on the refs. That call did not help the Patriots. It helped out the Cowboys. But it brings up fourth and short. And this is where it is all New England's fault. New England decides to punt the ball on fourth down in overtime. If you were down at all, whether it's 1 point, 6 points, 3 points, and you need to drive the ball down the field. Let's say there's 2 minutes left and you're down, 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, 6 points. But either way, you need to go down, drive the ball down the field, and score the points. So let's say it's fourth down here, and the team decides to punt the ball with a minute left in the game. You're standing there, you'd be asking yourself, why in God's name did you do that? There's a minute left in the game. You know damn well you're not going to get the ball back. You just pinned the nail in your own coffin. And I think that's exactly what New England did here with deciding to punt on fourth down instead of going for it. I think Belichick's logic here was he was confident in the defense to hold the Cowboys offense. And I'm sure it will be asked to him in a press conference. And that's exactly what he'll say, is that they had confidence in the defense to stop him. And it ultimately just didn't happen. But what in God's name made Belichick have confidence in the Dallas Cowboys, or not the Dallas Cowboys, but the New England Patriots defense and secondary against the Dallas Cowboys offense here? I want to bring up a statistic. So Dak Prescott was 36 of 51 for 445 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. This secondary was absolutely horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. Ezekiel Elliott, I thought, had a pretty good game, but they contained him for the most part. Elliott had 17 carries for 69 yards, 0 touchdowns, averaging 4.1 yard per reception. Tony Pollard also had 10 carries, 41 yards, and was also averaging 4.1 yards per carry. For the most part, I would say they contained the run for the most part. The reason that the Dallas Cowboys offense was so effective, the reason they were putting up points, and really the big reason New England wasn't coming here was because the defense could not stop the Cowboys passing offense. The secondary looked absolutely horrendous, and Dak Prescott was going on for almost 500 yards and 3 touchdowns against this team. So again, I asked Bill Belichick, what made you think that you were going to somehow magically, miraculously stop the Dallas Cowboys offense? Because for those who don't know how overtime works, basically, let's say the New England Patriots went, they kicked a field goal. The game wouldn't have been over. The Dallas Cowboys would have had a chance to go ahead and score points. If they kick a field goal, they kind of go back and forth until a touchdown is scored. If the Dallas Cowboys scored a touchdown, then the game would be over. And if the Dallas Cowboys scored nothing, New England would have won because they kicked the field goal. That's how overtime works. But because New England had an opportunity already to put points up on the board offensively in overtime, and they went 3 and out, they didn't put up any points on the board. They already had a chance of possession. They gave it to the Cowboys to have a chance. Because New England was given that chance, the Dallas Cowboys can put up a touchdown. They can put up 3 points. If they put up any type of points, they win the game. Which is why I'm telling Belichick again, you are in a crucial moment. This is just like not a week before, but 2 weeks before when we were playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Belichick decides to kick the field goal rather than going for it. It's this situational football in these key moments that Belichick is known for that this season I'm really questioning. I'm really asking myself, what in God's name are you doing? And what in God's name is going through your mind that makes you think, oh, it's a smart idea to punt the ball in overtime on 4th and short, or kick a field goal with a minute left when Tom Brady's on the other side of the field with an aging kicker and in a 56 to 58 yard field goal? Why would you not go for it there against Tampa 2? It's these key situations where you got to be more aggressive. You got to look towards the probability, not even necessarily the probability side, the realistic side of things. I mean, I think there was a much better chance that a couple of weeks ago, New England would have converted that 4th down than Nick Folk kicking in the rain a 56 to 58 yard field goal. This week, I think it's way more likely you would have converted there than to have had your defense stop the Dallas Cowboys offense from scoring any type of points. I'm talking about touchdown or field goal. I think Belichick was asking for way too much, and if he wanted to win this game, he should have went for it on 4th and short. Because you know what? Even if you don't get it on 4th and short, I think fans are much more happy. Like, it's a loss, so you're never happy, but much more happy with the decision than for you to give the ball to the opponent, knowing that you're not going to stop them from putting up points. Honestly, that punt for me was Belichick just saying, I give up. I concede the game. That's what that was to me. If Belichick wanted to be aggressive, he wanted to win this game, I really believe he would have went for it, because there's no point that this defense really showed, hey, we can stop Dak Prescott, especially towards the end of the game. That second half of the game, there was no point where we saw that. And the stats, again, for Dak Prescott clearly show that point. So to me, Belichick kind of pinned the nail in the coffin exactly when he decided to punt the ball on 4th down there. The other point I do want to talk about here is at the end of the game. This was kind of more on the referee side of things, not so much on the Patriots, Bill Belichick side of things. At the end of the game, it was the final play. This is when the Dallas Cowboys scored that touchdown, which was just absolutely ridiculous. A 30-yard touchdown to end the game to CD Lamb. I mean, I don't know what Belichick was playing. I think his hope was to rush several guys to Dak Prescott, try to get them out of field goal range, but that did not happen. And instead, the Dallas Cowboys were able, or Dak Prescott, I should say, was able to hit CeeDee Lamb deep in a one-on-one man coverage. CeeDee Lamb against Jalen Mills, which I'm not sure why Jalen Mills was on CeeDee Lamb, but But I guess that's not my business. I'm not the play caller here. I didn't love some of these play calls. I didn't love some of the play calls offensively from Josh McDaniels. I thought Josh McDaniels, for the most part, I liked some of the things I saw. But the Dallas Cowboys are the second worst team in the NFL against tight ends. And I felt like in the first half, especially the first quarter, we saw a lot of the Patriots utilizing these tight ends. Hunter Henry, especially, Jonnu Smith a little bit. We came out in the second half, really was not much of Hunter Henry, but really zero of Jonnu Smith. New England started looking way more towards these receivers rather than these tight ends. And it's like, again, try to find your mismatches. At the end of the day, I thought the Patriots moved the ball fairly well. I mean, Mac Jones here put up, let me get to it. Mac Jones statistically here for the Patriots didn't have a bad game. It was not a great game, but it wasn't a bad game. 15 for 21. So he was accurate, but only 229 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Looked good in the red zone for the most part. Once the Patriots, I feel like, got in the red zone, they were able to really capitalize. You didn't have Nick Folk constantly coming in, only, kicking 3, but only 229 yards through the air. Again, I feel like find those mismatches, and the Patriots moved the ball down the field more. To start the game, again, they were doing that. New England was moving the ball very successfully. They went back-to-back offensive drives and scored touchdowns. Unfortunately, they got away from that. And I feel like that is what is killing this team this year also, is that they are going away from the things that make them successful. They're like, oh, sweet, that worked. We're in the lead. Let's try this. I'm interested. I'm kind of bored. Like, let's see what we can pull, right? It's not the time for that. You have an offseason for that. You have time to practice. You have a preseason. We are not in preseason anymore. We need to win games. That is where we are right now. We can't lose games if you even want to make the playoffs. You even want to squeeze into the playoffs at this point. But they decided to go away from what was being successful, and that was utilizing those 2 tight ends, which, again, the Dallas Cowboys are second worst in the league against tight ends, and you have 2 top 10 tight ends. It's things like that I genuinely don't understand. And again, I think New England shot themselves in the foot in some cases. I mean, to prevent the Cowboys from going down the field and putting up 7, and then throwing a pick six in your own territory to Diggs, one of the best corners in the league. I mean, look, it could have been any other corner, and you're like, oh, damn it. But specifically, you should have known going into this game that you don't throw Diggs' way, especially in close proximity, especially when you're literally in your own territory. It's not a smart move. And I didn't think the ball was terrible. I thought it was a little bit of a catchable ball. I thought it could be catchable. It would have been a nice catch, but still a catchable ball. Was definitely high, though, from Mac Jones. I do put that more on Mac Jones and the receiver, which was Kendrick Bourne. And it's picked off, and now the Dallas Cowboys just went and got a free 7 points. Not to mention the other way around, New England should have put up 7 points, but they did not. New England should have put up 7 points with Jacoby Myers, who would have had his first NFL touchdown, but because of a James Ferentz holding penalty, or I think it was a block in the back, it was one of the two, that gets called back, and the Patriots don't get points. Those are 2 plays that I really feel like define. If I had to pick 3 plays that I think define this game, one would have been going for it on 4th down, or not going for it on 4th down and punting in overtime. The second one would have been the Jacoby Myers touchdown call that got called back because of James Ferentz. And then the second one, the third one would have been that pick 6. Those are really the 3. And of course, towards the end of the game too, was really the second half. You're coming out late 3rd quarter, early 4th quarter, and you have all of these 3 plays happen. And that is what killed the Patriots at the end. I liked what I saw from the running game today. That's a positive I do want to take away. I was not expecting that. I took Damian Harris out of my fantasy league today which was a big mistake because the Dallas Cowboys are second best in defending the run, and they did not do that today. Damien Harris, for an injured running back, 18 carries, 101 yards, 1 touchdown with a 5.6 average per attempt. Ramondre Stevenson, I thought, also looked fantastic today in limited opportunities. 5 carries, 23 yards, 1 touchdown, averaging 4.6 yards per attempt. So that's definitely a takeaway. I thought that, New England did for the most part. I liked the play calls for the most part. I did like the use of the running game and the passing game kind of going back and forth. There was a point where New England did go run with Ramondre and then run with Bolden. I'm not sure why Bolden was in there when you had Damien Harris and Ramondre Stevenson both looking good. I feel like for this game, that should have been the 1-2 punch. You had Damien Harris healthy enough to play this game. I don't think you needed Brandon Bolden to really get any reps for that factor. If you want to use him as a pass protecting running back, okay. But if you know you're going to run the ball, I don't see why you wouldn't go with Damien Harris or Ramondre Stevenson. So this is really the only standout play call for me that I didn't like. But other than that, it wasn't like the Patriots went away from the run game or went away from passing the ball. I thought it was a really nice combination of both. But I know we're not going to get the advanced statistics here, which that's what's definitely going to help out. Like I said, Patriots Football Breakdown and I are going to be getting on tomorrow or Tuesday to try to get into the advanced statistics and our overall thoughts on that. But if it will pop up. Which it is not. Okay, so it's not giving me the team statistics here for some reason, which is not helping at all. So this is something I'll probably have to bring up over the next couple of days when we go live and make videos on this. But like I mentioned, New England secondary looked absolutely horrendous. I mean, this is a team that was second in the league defending the pass, and that number is definitely dropping after this game. 9 receptions, 149 yards, and 2 touchdowns for CeeDee Lamb. I mean, wait, no. He's targeted 11 times, 9 receptions, 149 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Dalton Schultz, 5 receptions on 6 targets for 79 yards. Amari Cooper, who I thought was pretty quiet, actually 5 receptions, 55 yards on 8 targets. Ezekiel Elliott, 7 receptions on 9 targets for 50 yards. I mean, Dak Prescott gave the ball to everyone, but the fact that CeeDee Lamb put up almost 150 yards in this game, I mean, this is back-to-back games where New England has let a single receiver put up over 100 yards. It's not something New England's done for a while. They're not known for doing that. New England has always been one of the best pieces about them, but unfortunately, back-to-back games, they have allowed a receiver to have over 100 yards. See what you guys are saying here. And I'm going to talk about this with Patriots Football Breakdown, of course. I'm curious at his thoughts, but I look at, let me pull the picture up. I look at our schedule still, and I mean, I thought the Patriots could potentially beat the Bills one-on-one. But if the Patriots are going to play like this, from what we have seen from this team so far, teams that are better than them, they play good against, but they don't come out on top. They just do something to beat themselves. And so this Chargers game does scare me a little bit, but it's this Buffalo matchup. Those definitely scare me. I think Buffalo could potentially actually beat New England both ways. Now, I think New England will beat Miami. I think they'll beat Jacksonville. I say they'll beat the Colts. I think they'll beat the Falcons. And we'll have to see what happens here with Baker Mayfield and his injury, and if he's going to play in this game or not. But Cleveland's looking like a pretty decent team right now. Carolina's a decent team. The Chargers are a decent team. New England could have several losses. They cannot put those pieces back together. And I think that's That's really the big problem here, is it's that you're one piece away from winning games. At the end of the day, I don't care how you win the games, win the game. You know, it's better to be a hair close from losing the game but winning than the other way around. I'd rather say, wow, that wasn't a pretty win, but we won the game, rather than, wow, I mean, this team looked good and we just lost. Because at the end of the day, it's better to be a rough-looking winning team than a good-looking losing team. But like I mentioned earlier in this video, that just all really brings back deja vu to a 2020 version of the Chargers. I do want to give a shout out to the sponsors of this video, betonline.ag, guys. If you don't know betonline.ag, they are back and better than ever, and all eyes are on the gridiron teams as they are back to start yet again another football season. And as always, BetOnline is your number one spot for all pro and college football action this season. With a new updated site and interface and even more odds and props and contests, BetOnline continues to be the number one source for everything football. All you guys got to do is head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 100% off welcome bonus. Guys, that's double your initial deposit just for signing up. Don't forget to use that promo code NFL100. All the way from football to basketball to boxing, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all of the great, amazing available offers still for the 2021 season. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Now, one of the big things also I take away from this game is the injuries. New England was getting absolutely clamored with injuries. And if you guys saw the injury report before this game started, it was about two pages worth for New England. Everybody's injured, but Juwan Bentley dealing with an injury. Damian Harris looked like he was dealing with one. Jonathan Jones dealing with an injury. Christian Barmore was dealing with an injury. I mean, that was a big takeaway for me, especially with on the defensive line. Chase Winovich was out for the game with a hamstring injury. New England was getting absolutely clamored. Also, something else to take away, New England is playing absolutely terrible at home. If you have home tickets at Gillette Stadium for the New England Patriots, I am so sorry for you. You should request your money back because they have not won a single game at home this season. They look absolutely terrible when they play at home, and I don't know why. It should be the other way around. But for some reason, they have some type of curse right now when they are at home. Also, let me put this back up. I just realized I did not have that on. Trying to think if there's any other point. I had one more, and it's escaping me now. I also thought, I mean, and we'll get into probably the winners and losers video, but I thought Justin Bethel, guys, I thought, he also got injured at one point too. But I thought Justin Bethel played an outstanding game. The interception, the lone interception we had from Kyle Duggar was actually caused by Justin Bethel. A Justin Bethel tip led to that interception multiple times, multiple kicks. It looked like he was just a hair away from blocking. I could think of 3 or 4 times where I saw Justin Bethel almost block a kick there for the Dallas Cowboys. He made really good special teams plays, also made defensive plays when given the opportunity. I mean, he's probably my player of the game. I thought Kendrick Bourne played an amazing game also. Like, he might also be a contestant for my player of the game, but I thought Justin Bethel was a very, very underrated piece here for the New England Patriots. That a lot of people didn't talk about. I thought that he really led to a lot of these positive plays here for the New England Patriots. But Kendrick Bourne, I thought, had a nice game. I would have liked to see Kendrick Bourne get more involved. I also thought that was a little bit of the issue, was that he wasn't involved enough. He had that one splash play that I thought was spectacular, a great comeback play for New England before going into overtime. But 1 reception and only 2 targets. The only other target he had was on that interception. That's the only other time he was targeted, and it resulted in that pick 6, which again wasn't really necessarily his fault. It was more of a bad throw from Mac Jones, but weren't getting him involved enough. Jacoby Myers was pretty decently involved. Just not getting your top-notch guys more involved. Like I mentioned, they went away from those 2 tight ends. I thought way too early, when that is exactly what was driving them the ball down the field early in the game. Kendrick Bourne, one of your positive pieces over the last several weeks, you weren't getting involved enough. Clearly, when he was given the opportunity, he was making big plays, and you only targeted him twice. So those are going to be some of my overall takeaways. Like I mentioned, we're going to be going into like about an hour and 15-minute live stream with Patriots football breakdown, either Monday or Tuesday, where we're going to talk about more in-depth advanced statistics. Right now, we don't have those advanced statistics to be able to talk to you about and back up everything we're saying. But these overall are my thoughts here for the Patriots game that we currently just watched, the loss against the Dallas Cowboys. But I want to know your guys' thoughts. I want to know what you're thinking about this game. So make sure you guys do comment them in the comment section below. I'm very curious to see your guys' thoughts, your feelings on this one. And hopefully I was able to give you a little bit of insight on this game and kind of where the Patriots move going forward. We are on to New York this week. This should be a win for the New England Patriots. Cross your fingers. I do believe we are at home also. Yeah, we are. We are at home this week. So, I mean, this should be New England's first win at home, but we'll see. We'll see. If you lose to the Jets, then let's just scrap the 2021 season at this point. So cross your fingers, guys. I think this is really good building pieces for New England. I just don't think that this New England Jet, I think there's things they still need to figure out, and they're not going to be able to do it in season. And I think New England's going to come back in 2022, and I think they're going to look like a much, much better team. I just think there's so much new moving, maneuverable pieces right now that maybe we expected too much to happen all at once. You know, we expected too much to happen from a big drop from one season. But like I said, guys, make sure to leave a big like on this video and let me know your comments in the comment section below. I do appreciate you guys for watching. We have a lot of content coming your way, so make sure you hit the subscribe button and, of course, leave on your post notifications. But like always, I am Patriots Global. Thank you guys for watching, and take care.